everybody. Welcome back to the Maybaum Perspective. I'm your host, John Cates here at Maybaum. And with us today is Taite Sasnett from Patron Properties. Welcome, Taite.
Hey, John. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So why don't you give us a little bit of just sort of a personal background, maybe where you grew up and how you ended up in Augusta?
Sure. I am originally from Greenville, South Carolina. I grew up there and left Greenville, went to Wofford College.
Okay.
And after college, got into medical device sales in Greenville and stayed there for a few years and ultimately ended up in Savannah, Georgia, because that is where my husband was at the time. And he lived there for a few years, got married, and he is actually from Augusta.
Okay.
So we moved back to Augusta in 2014 and have been here ever since.
Great.
Have 5 children. I have a 25-year-old stepson, and we have 4 daughters.
Wow. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Keep
we have
on your
a
toes.
busy household. And
How old are the girls now?
they are 10, 8, and I have twin 6-year-olds.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
It's lively and loud.
Yeah. I remember one of my favorite memories, Susan and I always talk about this, was y'all did a gender reveal for the twins.
Sure.
And I think it was Richard's birthday.
I surprised Richard. He didn't know that we could find out what the twins were that early.
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, we had a dinner, a bunch of friends. And when it came time to have cake, I had a bakery fill the inside of the cake all pink to indicate 2 girls.
2 girls.
So just before he cut into the cake, he found out he was going to find out the gender of these twins.
Oh my gosh.
There was a lot of excitement, and poor guy, he is just lives in a house full of little women.
So we already had 2 girls.
Yes.
Knew y'all were going to have twins. And I just remember that was one of the most like raw emotional moments because you could see it on his face. He was like, he was finding out like, okay, I'm about to find out the gender.
Uh-huh.
And then when he found out it was 2 girls, I just remember it was just so much emotion and excitement.
It was like sheer joy and complete fear at the same time.
Right.
But here we are.
Yeah.
6.5 years later from
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
time.
Yeah, that's hard to believe. I just remember how much fun that was.
It was a lot.
Yeah. It was fun for me, you know.
I'm not really in it, but I get to participate in your shock.
That's right. That's right. But to have all your friends there and do that was really, really cool.
Special. We have replayed that video many times.
Yeah.
And our girls think it's hysterical.
I bet. That's great. Well, so you made it to Augusta. Richard, obviously your husband's here and your family's here. And I know that you have a little bit of background in real estate, having met your dad and who's a real estate developer in Greenville. And I know that you sort of, kind of made your way over to Maybaum, having your real estate license in the past, growing up around real estate. And I know that sort of around COVID times, you and I sort of started talking about master's housing and how we thought that it maybe wasn't done the right way. And COVID hit and it was a mess because, nobody really knew what to do. People were starting to sue each other. Talk a little bit about that time and the sort of genesis of Patron Properties and sort of how you and I got started in this venture.
Yeah. So, I do have a little background in real estate, grew up around it, had my license. And I guess after I had my second daughter, my license was about to expire.
Right.
And so I reached out to you and said, hey, I think I might want to keep my license active. And I guess about that time too, we had rented our personal home for masters for a few years,
right,
and dipped our toe in it. I was completely intrigued by the whole thing. I'm married to a guy that thinks that the week of masters is, Christmas.
Yeah. I used to go to his horseshoe tournament.
That's right. Yeah. There's no better week of the year. And so early on, I fell in love with it. I just really thought this is so cool that this lands in our town every year. So we started renting our personal home. Simultaneously, I got my license with Maybom and thought I might try the real estate route. But as a mom of 2 young children, it just, it was hard. And I wasn't quite sure if that was the direction I really wanted to go. And I think I remember we had a conversation. It was like late 2018, early 2019.
Right. Yeah.
Like, hey, John, would you ever consider starting a master's housing company? Like, would Maybom ever facilitate master's rentals? And I think you said, that had crossed your mind or something you had thought about. And so we just continued that conversation. And little did I know that I was going to have these twins, they were born in early 2020. Okay. So I think we continued that conversation through 2019 into 2020.
We don't do anything fast.
No, but we did a lot of research. We met with a lot of people.
Right.
And then COVID happened. And the world kind of shut down. But what became very apparent in early 2020 when we realized the Masters was not going to be held in early April, is that there were all of these homeowners who had received payments from their renters who were no longer going to be able to rent these homes. And a lot of these renters wanted their money back. And these contracts were...
Who had paid many months before.
Yeah. And, that there were, like you said, I mean, people were getting sued. It was an interesting time, and it was all people were talking about.
Right.
So I think if I recall, like late summer 2020, I think we talked, and I really felt like we had an opportunity to launch a housing business, a master's housing business that could really come in and be a voice of reason in this interesting time, and ultimately streamline the process. I personally felt like in my own experiences running my personal home, it became very apparent to me that these sums of money were growing, and they were being exchanged on a handshake. And I was left to communicate with my Fortune 500 CEO, and
as a homeowner,
reminding him to send me my payment. And I just remember thinking, there's zero representation. And that was like the light bulb for me, is that, wow, we could use more representation in this process. Like, this is a way of life. And I think we were feeling like at the time that, that everything around the tournament was growing. And, so we launched Patron Properties in November of 2020, as that unique fall Masters was being played. And when I think back on it, I feel like those months during COVID, while it was really slow, what it allowed for was time to do a lot of research, to listen to people, like what experiences they had had in the past, what they liked, what they didn't like, and then just take our time with building the business. And so here we are. I guess this will be our 6th Masters.
Wow. Yeah. Flying by. Yeah, I remember those days because, we were getting so many calls. Friends, clients, our agents were getting so many calls. Like, what do we do? These are friends of mine. These are clients of mine. Nobody knew what to do. And like you said, so much of the tournament housing business was just the first part, the matchmaking.
That's right.
Like, let's put this company and this homeowner together, but that's sort of where it stopped. And most of those contracts, if there was a contract, was like a half page. And I think the assumption that everyone made was there will always be a Masters tournament, and it will always be in the first week of April. And the world would have to end, for that not to happen.
That's
right. And that's sort of what happened. And these sort of black swan events that nobody can predict, resulted in, because it's something that we had talked about internally, but because we have a large property management company, and that's sort of what we do. And it wasn't really out of trying to have another revenue stream. It was, we need to help these people, right? And
Yeah.
they're,
Well,
we're a resource.
on the real estate side of things, if you're looking to buy a home in Augusta and you hear about this unique opportunity, owning your personal home for
Yeah.
the masters, and you really start to get interested in it, oftentimes a lot of home buyers, they want to have an idea of what they could potentially rent their home for. And not only that, like what criteria makes a home more
Right.
desirable for
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
large corporate groups that are renting
That's
these
right.
homes.
And I know what you and I talked about sort of in the beginning was we felt like it could be taken to a better level. Like there was this experience that you get when you're on the course and around the course, and you just didn't get that when they got back to their house. And that was a big part of what we wanted to do. The other thing was it sort of blew my mind that none of these other sort of companies were brokers.
That's right.
So like people are handling money and all this stuff. And the more we looked into it, it was just sort of like, hold on a minute, there's a professional way that this needs to get done. And I think that was sort of why we got started in the first place.
Yeah, I think there was a need.
Yeah.
I think our community folks that are really invested in renting their home for the masters, it's become, really important to them. Like I was saying, a way of life. They were, I think, looking for a resource, looking for someone to, that they could reach out to guide them through that process and help them present their home in the best light possible and, get the best renter possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the beginning. How have you grown it since then? I mean, what are some of the key things? I remember, conversations with you about QuickBooks and all those,
I think I
things.
started with an Excel spreadsheet and a Dropbox file.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really, like, we've had a lot of momentum from day. People are interested in this.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of our growth has just been word of mouth. And one of the things I realized early on is that, people want to be heard and they just want this experience to be handled with care. So just crossing T's, dotting I's. And so
on both sides.
Yeah. And so I think that, a lot of it was just showing up, just like day after day. And, creating a streamlined process to list these homes and then present them in a streamlined way to renters. And so, I think that over time, what started out as a pretty manual process has really grown into something pretty efficient. We have a fully functioning website where homeowners can list their houses. And then we in turn can very easily present houses to our renters. But, 5-6 years ago, people were just emailing or texting me their photos. I was creating a Dropbox link and, keeping track of my inventory on an Excel spreadsheet. But it worked at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked.
Right.
And so, but our team has grown and we're doing things more efficiently. But I think that, the first year that we rented homes, we kind of got through that 2020.
Right.
And then even April 2021, we really didn't rent.
Still a reduced.
Yes. I don't even think patrons were at that tournament.
So it allowed you kind of to build as you grow.
Right. And network and and then, I think there were a few key contacts along the way where, we had a great experience working together on the renter side of things. And then that just opened doors and continued, so it's really just been like pretty steady, like, organic growth. But I would say that I keep going back to like showing up, I think that this business still blows my mind that for this, 1 to 2 week event of the year, I mean, this is a year-round full-time job. Right. And I think historically there have been other folks or groups that have done master's housing, but it hasn't been treated as a full-time job.
Right.
It's been more of
Or
maybe
seasonal.
a
Yeah.
seasonal
Yeah.
side hustle type of thing.
Right.
And so I think what we did was we made this a something full-time that we were focused on just this year round. And I think that's made a huge difference.
Huge difference. So for those folks out there that are, let's talk about the homeowner side, who are maybe looking to rent, haven't rented before, what are some tips, some advice that you would give them to make their home more marketable, more appealing?
Well, one of the things that I think COVID did on the corporate hospitality side of things, and and I would say corporate hospitality because largely the renters that we work with are corporate groups who are coming to Augusta in April for their largest corporate hospitality event of the year.
Okay.
That's what the Masters is for them. So, COVID really did some things in terms of, where prior to COVID, maybe guests could share a bathroom. In our post-COVID world, guests can't share bathrooms. So I say that because there are some significant things that I think make a house or a property more marketable to our renter base. And I would say that top of the list, are dedicated bathrooms per bedroom. I can't tell you how many homeowners they wish in hindsight they had maybe planned to add that fourth or fifth bathroom, so every bedroom has a dedicated bathroom. And it's not to say that you can't rent your home if you don't have a dedicated bathroom per bedroom, but in terms of making your home more marketable, that's just one. That's a good one. I think renters are looking for updated, light, bright, more modern homes. They're looking for homes where that are well furnished, and from the standpoint of you have a bedroom and you've got a bed with matching bedside tables, matching lamps. And I use the hotel analogy a lot, but like the reason we have this really unique opportunity is because we don't have hotels that even come close to meeting the demand. And so that hotel feel like in a bedroom, if you think about that, like they're light, bright, matching bedside tables, matching lamps. So, there are certain things that homeowners can do to help their house show in the best light possible. Do we require that for you to list with us? No. And we will, happily, list any property. And we do get requests for all types of properties. There are just certain things that do make some properties more desirable than others. But if you are wanting to list your home or rent for masters, the thing I cannot stress enough that you get or take the time to do is have your house photographed. Professionally photographed. Not unlike a real estate agent would for their listing.
It's very similar.
So it's similar mindset. I mean, people want to see what they're getting. Have great quality photos. So,
how do people use the homes? I think that's a good, so sort of like, because that's a great question. I remember when you were talking to me about that sort of in the beginning, that's something I never thought about. Because it's like, if I've got a quote unquote sleeper home, some things are more important than others, right? They're not eating a lot of meals there. They're not spending a lot of time there. So where they sleep, using the bathroom, and where they're going to watch golf at night when they get home at 11 o'clock. So talk a little bit about that.
That's a great question. So the usage of these homes can vary. And I think historically, we've here in town, like we use two words to describe these rentals. Either a sleeper home or a host home. These two buckets that we've fallen into. The reality is there's a lot of gray area in between those. Host home can mean a lot of different things. Like, host home doesn't have to mean that you're having a party for 100 people a couple nights during the week. We have probably the majority of the groups that we work with are doing more smaller, like intimate corporate entertaining from the standpoint of like they might be renting two homes. One of those
Mm-hmm.
homes is being used as like what they call the dinner home. This is the home where like they're going to gather in the evening
Mm-hmm.
and have dinner, whether that dinner is being catered or prepared by a chef.
Okay.
And the other home is more like a sleeper home. It's where the other guests are going to stay.
Yeah.
So while that group, yes, they are hosting,
Mm-hmm.
but
they're not having a 200 party
they're
wedding
not having
reception.
a party. They're not doing large scale entertaining. And the other thing is too, around town, like sometimes a sticky subject can be, having a chef in a personal home. Like, these are, I get it. Like you have nice marble countertops, you've done this massive kitchen renovation, and you do not want a chef to come in and damage your kitchen. It makes total sense. From the renter standpoint, the way things have evolved, and the folks renting these homes, they are largely bringing in guests, and they're top tier guests. And nobody wants to cook for themselves that week. Like they're not going to Publix and buying groceries.
Exactly.
They're going to hire a caterer or a chef, and so and that's really like become the norm. And so I think that the rental rates have risen to support the usage of these homes. And so one of the ways that like Patron Properties that we really reassure homeowners, if they have an opportunity to rent to a group who does need to have a caterer or a chef in their home, is by providing a really solid contract that
that's really important.
We've got great language in there to help cover any damages. I tell homeowners there's a human element in this. Like there accidents happen, drinks get spilled and like something breaks. But I think at the end of the day, these renters, the way they're using these homes, they're at the course all day, and they want to come back to these homes and just, like you were saying, they've had this red carpet rolled out for them inside the gates of the tournament. And if this renter is hosting guests back at these houses, they want to continue that experience. So it's going to be elevated. Great. It's going to, they want a great, comfortable place to gather, to have golf on the TV. They might want a bartender to serve drinks. I mean, it's really pretty nice. And sure, we do get requests from renters that do need to have large scale events. And, and so, yes, the usage increases. And some homeowners are open to their home being utilized that way. And some.
Right. Oh, and I know we talked about this too, because you and I both care about the city. And I always wonder, I would hate for somebody to come in here into Augusta, they get this amazing experience during the tournament, and they look around at the rest of Augusta and are like, man, this is, how different is this? And so the more that we can do to elevate that experience while they're here, I think the better.
For sure.
And I know it was interesting you talked about the contracts, because one of the things we say at Baybom is where there's variety, there's expertise. So think about a home, right? Like you said, all the homes are different. And also what I think a lot of people don't realize is a lot of the experiences that these corporations want is varied. They want different things. And so if there is that variety, and it's not a commodity, it's not a cookie cutter, you need expertise kind of in the middle to make sure that everybody's expectations are met.
That's right. And that really is what it is about, is setting and meeting expectations on both sides. And I tell my team that, our job is to bridge the gap between a homeowner and a renter. This experience, if you think about it, for the homeowner, it's emotional. Like these are our personal
these are their homes.
Like this is where we're raising our families. We've invested a lot in our homes. And and then on the renter side, this is business. And so that's a large gap to bridge. And we take it pretty seriously. And there's a lot of details. There's a lot of transferring of information. I mean, these renters have a lot of questions. They want to know a lot about these homes. And
sometimes they're confidential guests,
that's right.
Celebrities,
very
athletes.
Yes. And so, it's really important to us that all the properties that we list, we try to have as much information about them as possible. And
Right.
that includes understanding, what a homeowner is comfortable with in their home,
Right.
what they want to rent their house for. And then on the renter side of things, we really, try to understand what their program is going to look like, what their needs are that week, where they're having dinner, who's preparing that dinner, what time do they plan to head out to the course in the morning? What type of housekeeping do they need? So we have to ask all of those questions, I think. And that's, what makes this just so nuanced and unique is that these are personal. So with that comes the need to handle the whole experience with a high level.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you for coming today.
Yeah,
this has been,
me.
we need to have you back. But I thought it'd be, good timing as people are starting to prepare their homes for masters and everything like that. I will give you guys a plug because we screenshot it every year. You guys do have sort of like a calendar, like this time of year, we talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, like a calendar of like rental activity.
Yeah. What do I need to be doing
throughout the year? Well, right now, in fact, I just got off the phone with a homeowner on the way here who said she was in the middle of cleaning out her closets. So, it's early February.
Yeah.
It's not too early to start cleaning out your closets. But, this is right now, I would say if you're a homeowner and you're renting your home, you need to be doing things like scheduling your pressure washing, make sure you have your HVAC service. Without fail, we have a couple
I'm sure
every year that go out. Any home maintenance that you've put off, and now is a good time to go ahead and get that done. And I always encourage homeowners, walk through your home and try to envision yourself as a guest.
That's really good.
What would you look for? What would you do?
Yeah.